Recently we saw the second impeachment of President Trump. I don't want to give my opinion on whether I believe he should be impeached or not. I've really given up on all of that because at the end of the day, like I tell my children, listen, if any good is going to come out of life for you, it's because you're going to make it happen. I look back throughout my history. No president, no senator, no congressman has ever done anything for me. If anything is a constant in my life, is what God has done for me. When I was in the drug cartel, how God protected me from dying. It's still a mystery to me, but the truth of the matter is I never thought I'd live past 25, and I'm here about to celebrate 65 years of age. But here's what gets me. When I saw the division in our country, it exists. It's probably existed for a long time. It probably has never been as vocal as it is now or as visible as it is now. Maybe because we didn't have a lot of social media to just show how much hatred existed. But I remember living through being a young man in the Vietnam era, and I saw the hatred with which people had towards soldiers coming home on a war that they really never even wanted to fight. It wasn't their fault. But yet, nonetheless, when they would come home, they would be spit on and told to be baby killers, when all they were doing is honoring their duty to serve their country, even in a war they did not agree or exist. But today, we have seen this hatred go to an nth degree. As I look at senators that put their hand on a Bible and said they swore to be impartial, and they swore to hear the evidence, and they swore to make a decision, yet at the same time, they will go on any of those channels and say, I already made my decision. I don't have to hear any of this. So what gets me? That they did that and they didn't listen to the evidence. I don't give a damn about the evidence. I don't give a damn about what they did. That's their conscience. At the end of the day, the people that most people in common hate the most, trust the least, and respect the less are elected officials. Big survey will show you. Barna did it years ago. And out of all the people and all the trades, the people that people disrespected the most were elected officials. Nobody thinks anything about our senators or congressmen. It's very, very sad. But what gets me is the fact that they put their hands on the Bible and then they call themselves Christian when they're nothing but a bunch of freaking hypocrites. If you put your hand on the Bible and say that you are going to be impartial. Or at least shut the hell up and don't tell people that you're not. Because it's stupid. You're leaving an example for the future or the generation, especially those people that don't believe in Christ, that don't believe they have a need for God. I mean, they sit back and say, why would I want to be a Christian? Look at them. They're a bunch of liars and hypocrites. And I agree with them. If I had lived in this time and age, if I had not met a man that showed me what it was to be content and happy with a relationship with a Jewish carpenter, today, I would have nothing to do with Christianity. It is very, very sad. So no longer want to call myself a Christian. I call myself a follower of Christ. I call myself a follower of Jesus. I fell in love with a Jewish carpenter who took me just the way that I was. A sinner, an adulterer, a drug lord, and changed my heart, transformed my heart. When all the millions in the world, all the sex in the world, all the orgies in the world, all the power in the world, all the mansions and cars kept me empty, that Jewish carpenter gave me meaning, fulfilled my heart, and filled that hole within me that we all come into the world with. So, therefore, that's what I call myself, a lover of Jesus. I am in love with Jesus because he transformed my heart. Religion, I have a hard time with it. I have a hard time with priests. I have a hard time with a lot of these evangelical leaders who you see are falling one after the other because they preach something and do something else, especially when they're willing to overlook the sins of the president or the character of the president because he might just fulfill that little desire that they have to overthrow Roe v. versus Wade. When it was passed, there was only one liberal on the court, and the rest were conservative, 8. And guess who voted against Roe v. versus Wade? The liberal. So as we see that, we see the hypocrisy. It's never going to happen. But, at the end of the day, we fight for that. And I see them fighting. All that matters to them is abortion. Why? Because an aborted child does not have to be educated, have to be fed, taken care of. Why isn't nobody fighting to feed the 1 out of 5 children in this freaking country? The most blessed country in the world where we have an obesity problem. Why is anyone not fighting to help feed those children? Why is anyone not fighting to protect the person on death row? When it's clear what Jesus says, only God gives life, only I take life. But to these religious leaders, they'll fight for abortion, but they don't give a shit about the death sentence. And we saw President Trump execute more people than any president ever before in his last month in office. Something that nobody had ever done. Your last month in office, you leave that up to the next administration to decide what to do. But I'm not judging President Trump for that or any of that. President Trump means absolutely nothing for me. I prayed for him since the day he got elected, as I prayed for President Biden today since the day he got elected. Why? Because that's what the Bible tells me to do. Pray for our elected officials. So I do. And do I believe they're there because God put them there? That's what the Bible says. So I either believe it or I don't believe anything. But I see the hatred of people that go ahead and voted against the impeachment. I mean, if you look at this congressman from Chicago, how his family writes a letter, how he has betrayed them and God because he voted to impeach Trump. Betrayed them and God. Think about that. Since when does God get involved in a impeachment trial? Oh, they call that Trump is a Christian? Really? I remember a little Christian hymn when I first became a Christian in prison that said, they will know we are Christians by our love. By our love, they will know we are Christians. So you know what, buddy? If you think the man is a Christian, then you know what? Maybe I just don't know what a Christian is. Or maybe he is the Christian that people like today. The one that's willing to lie thousands and thousands of times. The one that's willing to hate people and create division and bully people and put nicknames on people. I guess you know how I feel about President Trump. But nonetheless, it's insignificant. Because at the end of the day, when he was our president, I prayed for him. And did he do good things? Yes, because I can be impartial. I can say, I've been a Republican all my life. This is the first time I ever did not like a presidential candidate. I campaigned for Romney. I campaigned for McCain. I donated heavily to both of those campaigns. I think Mitt Romney is a hell of a man, but now he wants to be censored. He wants to be called a traitor because he does not follow Trump. Listen, you're either in a cult or you are a citizen of America and you respect the opinion of others. I do respect Romney. If you look at it, if you want to compare individuals, let's do it. Romney's been married to the same woman for 51 years. Zero scandal. Has raised very amazing young children. Zero scandal. Personally, no scandal. Politically, no scandal. The man made millions of dollars legitimate. Never filed for bankruptcy. But yet somehow we've been convinced that he is not a Christian, that he's an enemy of God because he voted to impeach Trump. Versus Trump, who's been divorced so many times, who cheated on his wife with a porn actress the day days after his child was born, who's filed bankruptcy 7 times, who's been sued more times than any human being I ever met, definitely more than any president in history. On and on and on. Yeah, you can call it a deep state, all that, Listen, I recently read an article by this psychiatrist from Stanford who said there's a direct correlation between people that love conspiracy theories and people that love cults. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm just telling you what I read. But the truth of the matter is, our walk, if we tell the people we're people of faith, our walk should represent what we stand for. And we should definitely, we can support people, but we don't have to cover up for them, for their faults. We don't have to say, hey, he's a godly man. And then, of course, I'll tell you the go-to answer for them is, he's not a perfect person. Of course, none of us are perfect. So why do you want to attack your congressman, your family member? He's not a perfect person either. Because he expressed what his conscience told him. Why can you not the fuck respect his conscience? Think about this. So, you know what? I am proud of congressmen. I am proud of Mitt Romney. I am proud of anyone that stood for their conscience instead of worrying about power. Because see, the sad part is, if you took a vote to impeach in secret ballot, there would probably been 5-6 senators that did not would not have impeached Trump. Now, I'm not saying he should have been impeached or not. I don't give a damn about that. I told you that before. I'm talking about the character of people. That's what matters here. The character of people. That somehow, because we like somebody, we're willing to overlook everything. But at the end of the day, the truth is not that they like Trump. None of these people like Trump. You watch. I said this at the beginning. If anyone was going to bring Trump down, it was going to be the Republicans. And you watch. Because just like with Trump, you're only as good as your last dance. I mean, he'll love you today and hate you tomorrow. And when you say a single negative word against him, he'll destroy you. Or try to. So the same thing is going to happen to Trump by all these Republicans that are kissing his ass. Because the truth of the matter is they're not kissing his ass because they love the man. They're kissing his ass because they know that if they don't, he's liable to attack them and they might lose the little power seat. But truth is, man, that is no longer the Republican Party. It's the party of Trump. And you know what? I applaud that for him. He's made a schmuck and a punk out of all the people. Look at Ted Cruz. The horrible things that Trump said about Ted Cruz's wife and father, and the horrible thing that Ted Cruz said about Trump, now they're lovers. Marco Rubio. I mean, Trump made a punk out of Marco Rubio. So I applaud Trump there. I do. I give him credit for great things. I think he's lifted up Christianity, even though I don't believe that he believes any of it. That's just my thought. I might be wrong. He put in good conservative judges. I have no problem with that. He did with the vaccine what no other president would have done. He's done with prison reform what no other president had done. So he did good things because we all can do good things. But I don't give him a pass for all the lies, for the bullying, for what he did to migrants at the border, how he separated families, and this poor Indian women will never ever see their children again. See, if you and I have our child taken from us, we're smart or educated enough that we'll be able to find them. But these women, they don't know even how to read. How are they going to find their child in this big system? So it's very, very sad. Very, very sad. But to the religious leaders, to the Franklin Graham, to all of the rest of them, oh, he's a man of God. He's the best president we ever had. He's the godliest president we ever had. You know, God will be the judge at the end. And again, so yeah, I get excited because as a Republican that loved the party, that gave my heart and soul to the party forever, I felt that it's destroyed. I feel how much people talk about each other behind their back. I feel like they don't have the decency to confront what is bad, and they don't have the decency to stand up for what is right. What happened at the Capitol is horrific. And I said this when that happened, or prior to that. Good people are going to be hurt tremendously, because I promise you one thing. I fought the government for years, and I'm going to tell you something. They always win. You cannot overthrow the United States government, and we should not. So you go and attack the United States Capitol, or like I remember when Kiki Camarena got killed in Mexico, the DA agent. The way the United States government went against the cartel was unbelievable. The pressure that they brought upon the cartel, the millions of dollars that we lost, is unbelievable. Why? Because some asshole wanted to kill a DEA agent. So we knew that happened in Mexico. We knew in Colombia that you don't touch those people. You know, because you're not killing one person. You're killing an entire government. So therefore, we know what can happen. So you think you're going to go and attack the Capitol, and then you're going to be defended for the person you're attacking the Capitol for, and he's going to defend you? I promise you, he's going to throw you under the bus the same way that everybody that gets caught. I remember one thing the FBI always used to tell people. The first cattle out of the box gets all the hay. Think about that. So therefore, what happens is, the minute they started busting people, and they tell them they're going to spend 20, 30 years in jail, or they're going to be charged as a terrorist and marked for life as a terrorist, their whole life is ruined. Career is ruined. Never get a job anywhere. You don't think they're going to talk? Man, they'll tell on their mother if they have to. I've seen assassins. Listen, I've seen assassins rat on their family members because they don't want to do 20 years in jail. And I'm telling you now, It happens every day now, and it's horrific. And I just tell people, listen, you better realize that you're not going to get away with nothing. So when you think about overthrowing the government, when you don't like something, think about the officials you elect. And protest, yeah, protest peacefully. I was against the rioters. I think that it was horrific what they did. And I think that all those riots hurt more the black life cause than not rioting. Martin Luther King brought about change. Why? Because he did it peacefully. So did Gandhi and all those people. Peaceful movements bring about change. Violence just justifies to the people that you're attacking that you're a scumbag anyways. So why listen to you? And we see that happen. But when you go and attack the United States Capitol and you killed a Capitol officer, everybody there can be charged for murder and racketeering. The amount of lawsuits that Rudy Giuliani for opening his fat ass mouth, and for Trump, I think the best thing that ever happened to Trump is take him off Twitter. Why? Not because, God, he brings so much peace to the country, but most of his problems were all self-induced. He had a chance to be the best president in American history at the beginning because he's always been a Democrat that ran as a Republican. But somehow, that ego, just the way he is, just couldn't help himself. I mean, anytime that you attack a young activist, a young girl, because she said something negative against you, really? Come on, man, you gotta be bigger than that. So at the same time, I tell people, you know what? And it's a sad day for those people that decided, and some good people, a lot of bad people, some good people went there because they really felt, they were convinced that they were defending the democracy and that they would lose their country. Why? Because they've been fed so many bullshit and lies over and over again. But you watch the lawsuits. I mean, they're coming in droves. In droves. Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and people like that, they're going to stay in court till Jesus comes. They'll bankrupt them. Because at the end of the day, a lot of this organization, they don't give a shit. They got a lot of money. And you're just an individual. And if nothing else, every time they file a brief, you got to defend it. Every time there's a court appearance, cheapest lawyer is $5,000. You don't beat the U.S. government. I remember, never forget this DA agent, Peter DeGaglia, saying to me, George, when you go today in front of that judge, he's going to read out something very, very important. He's going to say, United States of America versus Jorge Valdes. Remember that, son. That's 250 million people against you. You can't win. He said, you know what, son? I can afford to let you get away forever. I lose nothing. I go home Friday, I get my paycheck, I see my family. You cannot afford to get caught one time. I begged a friend of mine, don't go. Don't go. Because I knew, he's a good guy, but I knew that at the end of the day, they would not succeed, number one. At the end of the day, their whole attack was based upon lies, number two. And number three, the punishment that was going to come as a result of that was going to be horrific. You think that they're going to let you get away with attacking the Capitol and slap you in the hands? We're going to see criminal indictments coming for ages and ages and ages. And that's the thing that happens with the government. They arrest one, that one tells on another one, and it's a daisy chain. At the end of the day, I promise there'll be people indicted that were not even there. Why do I know that? 10 years in prison. I seen it. I seen inmates get together and say, hey, I'm cooperating with the government. Tell their buddy, repeat that you did this with Jorge Valdes, A, B, C, and D. And then you can become a witness too and get some time off. If there's one thing that every inmate that's in jail doing today, trying to figure out how to get out. And the quickest way out, you tell them people. Remember, the United States government only arrests, of all the arrests the DEA, FBI, and all those agencies make, maybe 3% counts by their own investigation. 97% count because somebody told on somebody. That's a fact. That's a reality. So it's going to be a sad day. But the biggest message here today is, listen, if you're going to be bad, man. If you're going to tell lies, just tell lies. But have the balls not to put your hand on the Bible and say you're going to tell the truth when you know you're not. Because it makes you nothing but a hypocrite. You want to hold on to power? Power flees. It comes and goes. I can tell you that. I had it. You think that everything in life is about a little power you have because you're a congressman or senator? You're nothing. If you are not a person of integrity, you're nothing but a piece of shit. I don't give a shit. I mean, what title you have? I don't care if you're emperor or you're pope. I don't judge people by title. I judge people by their character. I'm flawed. I have a lot of faults in my life. But the faults I have, I don't try to cover them up and say that they're truth. One thing I know is I did lay in the floor of Panamanian jail willing to die and never ratted anybody else out. For people that later on would go on and betray me. But I did it so that my children would never have to bow their heads to any man because of their father. So today my message to you is, if you're going to be a person of integrity, be one. If you're going to be a piece of shit, just be one. If you're going to follow Jesus, follow him. If not, listen, sin is fun. Whoever tells you that sin is not fun, it's a liar. I know it. Whoever tells you that being in bed with 3-4 women is not fun, it's a liar. But none of that fun brings gratification and eternal peace. It brings eternal damnation. At least that's what I believe. So today, my brothers and sisters, again, if you don't like the message I said, unfollow me. I couldn't care less. I don't make no money off of this anyway. And at the end of the day, one thing you're going to get from me is the truth. You might not like what you hear, but you're going to respect that at least one thing I do is tell it the way I see it. I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not a hypocrite. And I don't tell two stories. I tell one story. And I don't care who you are. And if you don't like me because I don't like Trump, tough luck. Don't like me. I couldn't care less. I lived most of my life without you liking me. And if you appreciate what I'm trying to do to make a difference in the world and to create a better world for our children and our future generation and our grandchildren that I love so much, then follow me, share my message, share it with your friends. There's about great things about to come down theatrically that I believe you will enjoy. But one thing that you will know about me, I'm real. That's the best I can tell you. I'm an imperfect human being. But I am a real human being. And I am a friend to my friends. I die for my friends. Recently I realized because of Trump, and not because of Trump, because Trump doesn't separate families and friends. The families and friends that separate themselves from you because of Trump, they never were your family. They never were your friends. I have my dearest friend, Lau Havermill. He and I are complete opposites as to liking Trump or not. But you know what? We joke about it. And sometimes I'm sure that we might say something we don't like, but our love for each other is not impacted by that because we know one thing. Trump is going to come and go. Biden is going to come and go. Kamala Harris is going to come and go. They all come and go. What doesn't come and go is that friendship that you built that is strong, that is lasting. I have very few friends, and I thank God for that. Because I used to think that I had to take care of so many people. You know, I made so many people rich. And so many people told me, George, I would die for you. You know what happened the day I went to prison? They should have been Olympic runners. I never seen freaking people run so fast. They left me. You know who was there? My brother. My father, my mother. They never left me. They stood there through me. My brother sacrificed his life for me. I adore my brother. He and I feel differently about Trump. I don't care about that. He doesn't care about that. He'll call me Demi. And then, I just call him, hey, are you still drinking the Kool-Aid? But it does not impact our relationship. I would die for my brother today. With no doubt in my mind. Because he abandoned his whole life for 12 years to bring my parents to visit me in prison. So during times like this, you know who your true friends are. I had a true friend. I had a friend that I thought was a really friend. But I guess at the end of the day, it was just an acquaintance. Because he just did not like that I did not like Trump. Tough luck, buddy. I would have done anything in the world for that person. I really, really loved him. And he broke my heart. But we go on. Listen, my father died in my arms. I thought the world would end. And I kept going. I have the assurance I'm going to see him in heaven again. He was my best friend. He was everything in my life. So the world goes on. Nothing stops. The world's constantly moving. So today, I urge you, Be real. Be true to yourself. Your children are looking at you. Your grandchildren are looking at you. Think of the good in people. Try to get away from the bad of others. And then focus your time on what is important. I quit looking at the news. I quit looking at any of that stuff. I'd rather spend time now watching YouTubes with my wife and I, because we got into cooking with a wood-burning oven, like the old days when there was no electricity. So we really, really enjoyed it. I never cooked anything but scrambled eggs in my life. So I get to serve my wife now by cooking for her. And when she's cooking, I get to serve her by helping her prepare. Never did that in my life. Never thought I would have. But every day of my life, I love my wife so much more. Every day. I can't think of ever spending a minute without her. The thought of spending the rest of my life without her breaks my heart. And I pray to God that I would go before she does. But see, we built our love not because we like some candidate or because we like certain hobby. We built our love because we both are united by the same God that saved us, that united us, that keeps us going during the very difficult times in our lives, that continues to forgive me every time I fuck up, because I do it all the time. The same God that forgives me when I repent. The same God that has saw me go through horrific times in my life, and here I am. That God to me is called Jesus. His love transformed my heart. So when I look at my wife now, I don't look at her because of how beautiful she is. I look at her because she's a gift from God. Be blessed, brothers and sisters. Follow me on our webpage. Stay tuned with what I'm doing. And we're creating a community. We're creating an amazing thing, a membership program where I'll be teaching about the narco mindset. Recently, I started with 2 other friends on Clubhouse. I started on Thursdays at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And we talk about real and raw things that affect us every day of our lives. And we'll let the audience ask questions. It's really cool. It's interesting. No politics. I just told you the most amount of politics I'm going to tell you. And at the same time, I want you to know, I'm not judging Trump. I'm just telling you how I feel about him. But you know what? God forgives us all. Somehow I have a feeling that when we get to heaven, we're going to see people that we never thought we would see. And we're never going to see people that we thought we were going to see. So, be a good person. Help others. Feel the pain of others. And if God bless you with much, remember, he or she who much has been given, much is expected. See you on the next episode on this YouTube channel. Subscribe at the bottom, hit the like button, and share with your friends if you liked it. And if you don't like it, and you have subscribed, unsubscribe. Hit the down button that you don't like it. I'm going to move on. You will too. Life will be good. Be blessed.